Brothers and sisters, have you ever felt that something is not quite right in your home? Have you noticed that blessings do not seem to flow as they should? If you are seeing this message, it is not a coincidence. Today, I have something extremely important to share with you, something that can completely change the energy in your house. But before continuing, I ask you to pay close attention. This message is so essential that I need you to write in the comments, "I am ready to receive protection." Do it right now, because what I am about to reveal is urgent and necessary for you and your families. Padre Pio, a saint who dedicated his life to helping thousands of people, left us a very clear warning about certain objects that we must remove from our homes immediately. No, I am not exaggerating when I say that you must do this without delay, because these objects may be affecting your lives at this very moment without you realizing it. We often think that financial problems, illnesses that do not heal, or family conflicts that seem never-ending are due to bad luck or mere coincidences. But Padre Pio taught us that our home is a temple, and just as we worry about keeping it clean on the outside, we must also keep it pure on the inside. What I am about to tell you is no trivial matter. With his deep wisdom and ability to see beyond the obvious, Padre Pio identified 3 specific objects that could be blocking the blessings in your home. They are not mere decorations or insignificant items. They are invisible barriers that may be interfering with your prosperity and peace. And before revealing them, I want you to understand something fundamental. This has nothing to do with superstitions, but rather with a spiritual reality that he, through his connection with the sacred, was able to recognize and warn us about. Many times, evil disguises itself as harmless things and enters our homes without us noticing. Have you recently felt that things in your house are not flowing as they should? That no matter how much you pray and ask for help, something seems to be blocking your blessings? Have you noticed a heavy atmosphere without an apparent reason? These signs should not be ignored. What I am about to share is not information that can be easily found. This warning from Padre Pio has been passed down from generation to generation by word of mouth, from heart to heart, because he knew how important it is to keep our homes protected and blessed. Prepare yourselves, because in the next few minutes you may receive the answer you have been waiting for to transform the energy in your home. We are going to discover together what these 3 objects are that, according to Padre Pio, must be urgently removed from our homes. And remember, this message is not just for you. If you know someone who needs this information, do not hesitate to share it. Just as Padre Pio dedicated his life to helping others, we are also called to share this wisdom with those who need it most. The first object that Padre Pio warned us we must remove from our homes is broken or cracked mirrors. And no, this is not about the old belief of 7 years of bad luck. The reason is much deeper and more significant. Imagine a broken mirror for a moment. It does not reflect the image correctly, does it? It distorts it, fragments it. Well, according to Padre Pio's teachings, a broken mirror in the house does the same with the positive energy that should flow freely in the home. Perhaps you have a broken mirror stored in the closet or basement, thinking that one day you will fix it. But pay attention, that mirror, even if it is out of sight, continues to exert its negative influence. Padre Pio pointed out something very important about this. Broken mirrors do not only affect the material aspect of our lives, but can also interfere with our prayers and petitions. It is as if they create an invisible barrier that prevents our pleas from reaching heaven clearly. Have you noticed that lately your prayers seem to go unheard? That no matter how much faith you have, the answers take a long time to arrive? Perhaps a broken mirror in your home is interfering with your spiritual connection. There is something that many people do not know, but that Padre Pio understood very well. Mirrors are not just decorative objects. They are energetic portals that amplify both the positive and the negative. When they are intact and well placed, they can help multiply the blessings in a home. But when they are broken, they can intensify negative energies. And this does not only apply to completely shattered mirrors. Even those with small cracks or fractures can be problematic. So, think carefully. Do you have any mirror in your house that has even a small crack? If the answer is yes, it is time to remove it right now. It is not enough to simply throw broken mirrors into the trash. Padre Pio taught us that we must dispose of them with respect and care. The first step is to wrap them in newspaper or cloth while reciting a prayer of protection. Then we must ensure that we discard them in a place where they cannot cause harm to anyone. The most surprising thing is that many people who have followed this advice have noticed almost immediate changes in their homes. The atmosphere feels lighter, arguments decrease, and blessings begin to flow more easily. However, it is not enough just to remove the broken mirror. It is also essential to energetically cleanse the space where it was placed. This can be done with a cleansing prayer or by sprinkling holy water in the area. If a new mirror is to be installed, it is recommended to bless it before putting it in place. Padre Pio also warned about the placement of mirrors in the house. It is not advisable to place them in front of the bed or in spaces where they directly reflect areas of prayer, as they can interfere with rest and spiritual connection. If the broken mirror has great sentimental or material value, the best decision will always be to prioritize the spiritual peace of the home over clinging to an object. Nothing is more valuable than family tranquility and harmony. This is also a good time to check the condition of all mirrors in the house. Cleaning them with a little water and white vinegar while saying a prayer of protection helps ensure that they reflect and multiply only positive energies. Something that Padre Pio observed in homes where broken mirrors were kept was the frequent presence of nightmares, insomnia, and a constant feeling of fatigue. If any of this sounds familiar, it may be time to conduct a deep review of your home. Now, let's move on to the second object that Padre Pio warned us to remove from our house: images or figures of owls. For many, this may come as a surprise, especially because they have become very popular in decoration. How many of you currently have an owl figure in your home? It may be in the living room, bedroom, or kitchen, whether in paintings, statuettes, or even cushion and blanket prints. Padre Pio was very clear on this matter. These objects can act as antennas for unwanted energies in our home. It is no coincidence that in many ancient cultures, the owl was considered a symbol of darkness. Although these figures may seem harmless, they carry strong symbolic meaning that can disrupt peace at home. Many people have noticed that when they have trouble sleeping or feel restless during the night, there is often one of these figures nearby. Perhaps they have not made the connection, but Padre Pio insisted that these objects can affect rest and mental peace. It is not that those who give them as gifts do so with bad intentions. In most cases, they are gifts from people who care about us and are simply following a trend. But Padre Pio taught us that the intention behind the gift does not change the effects these objects can have on our home. If you think about it, today these symbols are everywhere, in jewelry, clothing, and decoration. Why have they suddenly become so common? Padre Pio warned that some trends are not as innocent as they seem and may be subtle ways of introducing problematic elements into our spaces. So what should be done if these figures are in the home? The process is similar to that of broken mirrors, though with some differences. The most important thing is to remove them with respect, without fear, but with firmness. It is not necessary to break or destroy them, just to take them out of the home. And the most remarkable thing is that many people who have done this have noticed significant changes. Family relationships improve, arguments decrease, sleep is more restful, and they feel as if an invisible weight has been lifted from their home. After removing these objects, Padre Pio recommended performing an energy cleansing in the place where they were. This can be done with holy water or simply with a prayer of protection. It is like closing a door that should never have been opened. If someone has given you an owl figure and you do not want to offend them, there are respectful ways to remove it without hurting their feelings. The important thing to remember is that our spiritual peace and the harmony of our home must be above any object, no matter how beautiful or meaningful it may seem. If you have decided to remove owl figures from your home and fear that someone may be offended by their absence, you can kindly explain that you are making some changes in your decoration. There is no need to go into details if you do not feel comfortable doing so. The key is not only to focus on the most obvious objects. These images can appear in unexpected places, such as calendars, jewelry, or bedding. That is why Padre Pio invited us to conduct a thorough and meticulous review of our home to identify any element that might be affecting the spiritual harmony of our house. And if you are wondering what you can place in their place, Padre Pio suggested replacing them with images or figures that genuinely aid in spiritual growth. These could be images of angels, crosses, or natural elements that convey peace and serenity. It is not just about following a trend or making superficial changes in decoration, but about creating a space that protects and strengthens our spiritual connection. There are places where, upon entering, we immediately feel a deep sense of peace. That is what we should strive for in our own home. Now we come to the third object that Padre Pio warned us to remove, and perhaps it is the most important of all: decorative masks, especially those that represent faces or expressions. Did you know that masks have been used in rituals and ceremonies since ancient times? It is no coincidence that Padre Pio placed special emphasis on these objects. Although we often buy them as simple decorative elements, thinking they add an artistic touch to our spaces, they can actually be exerting a negative influence in the home. If you look around, do you currently have any decorative masks in your home? They could be in the living room, a hallway, or the bedroom. They might be traditional masks, Venetian masks, or even those small souvenir masks sold as travel keepsakes. Padre Pio explained that these objects can serve as entry points for energies we do not want in our sacred space. It is not just about large or striking masks. Even small ones that seem harmless can have the same effect. The size of the object does not reduce its ability to influence. Some people have noticed that when they are in a room with masks, they feel as if someone is watching them, or there are spaces in their home where they simply do not feel comfortable for no apparent reason. This could be because a nearby mask is affecting the energy of that place. It is important to understand why these pieces can be problematic. Padre Pio explained that masks, by their very nature, represent concealment and duplicity. In our home, we want everything to be clear, transparent, and full of light. Masks can create confusion and distort the positive energy that should flow freely through our house. Even more concerning is that these masks are often placed in prominent areas of the home, as if they are presiding over family spaces. Padre Pio warned that this can particularly affect children who are more sensitive to energies and may experience fear or unease without knowing why. So what should we do if we have masks at home? Their removal should be done with respect but with firmness. There is no need to break or destroy them, but they should be completely removed from the space. If the mask was a gift or has sentimental value, we can appreciate the intention with which it was given, but understand that our spiritual peace is more important. After removing them, it is essential to cleanse the space energetically. This can be done with holy water or a prayer of protection, especially if they have been in the same place for a long time. If you are wondering what to place in their place, Padre Pio suggested decorating our home with images or symbols that inspire peace and tranquility. Interestingly, he mentioned that houses without masks tend to have clearer and more honest communication among their inhabitants, and it makes sense. By eliminating symbols of concealment and duplicity, we promote transparency and truth in our family relationships. A practical tip: if you are going to remove the masks, do so preferably in the morning when the sunlight is strongest. Padre Pio said that natural light helps in this process of cleansing and renewing the home. Remember, this is not just about decoration or aesthetics, but about creating an environment that truly protects us and helps us grow spiritually. There are spaces where, as soon as we enter, we immediately feel calm and clear-minded. That is what we should aim for in our own home. Now that we know the 3 objects we must remove, it is time to talk about how we can keep our home protected and blessed in the long term. Keeping a home full of good energy, following Padre Pio's teachings, is a continuous process, not something we do once and forget. It is like tending to a garden, which requires constant care to remain beautiful. Our home is the same. After removing the objects that were blocking blessings, it is essential to perform a complete spiritual cleansing of the house. To do this effectively, it is recommended to start at the main entrance and move clockwise, going through each room. While doing this, opening the windows allows fresh air and natural light to enter, facilitating the renewal of energy. Another piece of advice that Padre Pio left us is the use of coarse salt in the corners of the house, as it has purifying properties. Placing a small container of salt in each corner of the main rooms and changing it weekly helps maintain a clean environment free of heavy energies. The placement of new decorative objects is also important. It is always preferable to choose natural elements such as plants, fresh flowers, or river stones, which connect us with creation and attract positive vibrations. Few people know that Padre Pio recommended establishing a regular home blessing routine. It is not necessary to wait for a priest to do it. Each person can perform a simple protection prayer every morning, especially in the places where the removed objects used to be. It is also beneficial to dedicate a special corner for prayer, a quiet space with a candle and an image that inspires peace. It does not have to be large or elaborate, but it should serve as an anchor point for positive energy throughout the house. Physical order and cleanliness also play a fundamental role. According to Padre Pio, clutter can stagnate energy and make it difficult for blessings to flow. That is why dedicating time each day to keeping the space tidy and clean is key to allowing energy to move freely. But the most powerful protection does not come from objects or rituals alone. It comes from the love and respect among the members of the household. No spiritual cleansing will be completely effective if negativity, conflicts, and resentment accumulate in family relationships. When the atmosphere at home is heavy, everything feels more difficult. So it is essential not only to maintain physical and spiritual cleanliness, but also to strengthen the quality of family interactions. A home filled with love is a fortress against any negativity. Now is the time to take action. Throughout this message, we have discussed the 3 objects that Padre Pio warned us to remove: broken mirrors, owl figures, and decorative masks. How many of these objects do you currently have in your home? Perhaps as you listen to these words, you already identified some in your own house. Do not wait any longer. The time to act is now. As Padre Pio said, when we recognize something that affects our spiritual life, we must take immediate measures. I propose a challenge. After this message, walk through your house, check each room and every corner, identify these objects, and make a plan to remove them. It is not necessary to do everything in one day, but it is important to take the first step today. And remember, this message is not just for you. Surely, you know someone who has these objects in their home without realizing that they might be affecting their well-being, a family member, a friend, or a neighbor. Sharing this knowledge with them could make a difference in their lives. If you have been facing difficulties in your home, whether financial problems, family conflicts, or illnesses that do not improve, perhaps these objects have had more influence than you imagined. Imagine how your life could change by creating a truly clean and protected environment. I invite you to share in the comments which objects you will remove first and how you feel about making this decision. Your testimonies could inspire others to take this important step. Remember, you are not alone in this transformation process. If you have any doubts about how to proceed with the cleansing of your home, review again the recommendations we have shared. The key is to act with faith and determination, knowing that every action brings you closer to a truly blessed and protected home. Padre Pio left us these teachings because he knew how important it is to keep the home as a true sanctuary. Now, the decision is in your hands. You are ready to transform the energy in your home. Before concluding this special message, I want to ask you something from the bottom of my heart. If you feel that you are ready to receive this teaching and put it into practice, write in the comments, "I receive this blessing." This small act symbolizes your decision to make the necessary changes so that your home becomes a place of peace and protection, following Padre Pio's advice. Every time you share this message, you are helping another family protect their home. Perhaps someone you know needs to hear these words and does not yet realize it. Do not hesitate to share this teaching with those who might benefit from it. Sometimes, a simple video can be the tool that brings light to someone who needs it most. If you have not done so yet, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. This way, you will receive more messages like this, filled with wisdom and spiritual guidance to protect your family and strengthen your home. And if this message has touched your heart, a simple like helps us reach more people who, like you, are searching for answers to strengthen their spiritual connection and well-being. Remember, it is never too late to make the necessary changes at home. Padre Pio left us these teachings because he knew how essential it is to have a truly protected and blessed home. See you in the next message, and most importantly, remember, the transformation of your home begins today. You have the power to make these changes, and your family deserves a home filled with peace, love, and blessings.